How's it going, everyone? Sethphir here, and welcome back to another Tower of Fantasy video. Today is going to be my guide for the appointed research, which will help you get the legendary Tactics Eyepiece to power up your gear. And this thing is really strong. When I say strong, I mean super strong. You're talking like 4,000 plus CS if you upgrade this bad boy, and it gives a lot of crit. So this is definitely what you want to aim for. So first, let's talk about the appointed research. We're going to break it down into a few sections. We're going to talk about the materials required, how you get the legendary eyepiece, and we're also going to talk about the research pass and the priorities so that you don't make any mistakes. So you're going to want to pay attention here. The first thing that you need to know is in order to unlock the appointed research, you must complete the story. You must be on to be continued. You got to get to the story progress so that you can unlock this. Once you do, you will get a NPC on the map named Cal. He will appear near the Vera Tower of Fantasy, but you don't have to talk to him because there is a robot in every single section that you can talk to, and one right here next to me that will give you access to the appointed research. So that's going to be the place where you're going to go ahead and talk about all these things. So now let's talk about the research pass. There are a lot of paths here. It can be a little bit confusing, but what you need to know is that the top path is going to contain the pieces for the eyepiece. This is going to be where you're going to get the legendary eyepiece at. So this is going to be important, and all of these materials up here are going to be found from the humanoid mobs in the Confounding Abyss. So anything that looks human-like, it's not a beast, is probably going to drop some of these materials, including the boss Hurrah, the world boss, which is going to drop the legendary material and a lot of other goodies. So be sure to keep that in mind. Then we have a middle section. There is two parts in the middle section. The first part has a mining route, so this is going to be for the third floor of the Confounding Abyss. You will get mining materials from here. And then there is a second section in the middle piece, which is going to be for the space-time fragments, for purple and gold dust. And this is going to come from a lot of the beast-like creatures. They're going to drop these like chunks of matter, and then some treasure chests drop this machinery core. So this is going to be what you're going to use to access this gold space-time dust, which will allow you to get combat engine and a couple of other goodies. Then we have the bottom row or section, which contains a lot of the plant-like vegetation, and including the plant-like vegetation, it has these solid bone fragments, which are available from enemies on the third floor only. So there's going to be like these little crabs and otters, and you can click on each of these materials and see exactly where it drops from. So it's no secret. You will be able to find that. There are locations that are better than others, and I'll show you those in another guide where we can farm all these materials really easy. But the main point of the bottom row is going to be for gear. You're going to be able to get crystal dust, which is going to let you buy legendary gear, and there is some special things along the way, like certain relic fragments or shards for alter destiny. So this is really good because at the fourth level this will give you 2% frost damage, and I know there's a lot of Saki Banes out there, so you're probably going to be going for that one as well. So now that we have all of that explained, we're going to talk about those materials that we kind of discussed. So as the levels go up further and further, it's going to require more and more materials. So usually it has a baseline. It's going to have one material type that's farmed and one material type that comes from treasure chests or things that you explore out in the wild. And then from there, you're going to have to find your own materials from that point onward. And as you get further progressed down the path, you're going to start requiring boss materials or materials that are harder to find, like we talked about before, with the Crystal Max Core coming from Hurrah. So these are going to be the ways that materials are going to be sort of branching up as you level up. Every single archetype has this system, right? So the higher up you get, the more materials it's going to require, and you're going to see different varieties of things like legendaries, some purple materials. So all of these have different drop sources. Again, just click on them and you will see where they come from. So now that we have the materials covered, let's talk about the final requirement to upgrade these things, which is going to be the energy charger. As you see down here, there is a certain quantity of these that it wants me to get in order to be able to turn in some of these things. So actually I don't have enough right now on the 7, but if I did, I could turn in for the eyepiece. So how this is going to work is you get 5 of these every day on the reset, as long as you have this quest activated. So it was important important to do the story at the beginning. If you haven't done your story yet, I would just say go ahead and get on it. It's not the end of the world, but every day that goes by that you don't have this unlocked, you won't receive these little chargers from what it seems. So you definitely want to get these and make sure you have those going for you so that you can start progressing your paths. So now let's talk about that path progression, right? So path progression is going to include a few things, and it's going to talk about one-time path progression versus repeatable. As you can see, I've completed these quests, but I can't turn them in anymore. So how it works is the B tier and A tier for the pass are going to have one-time turn-ins. You're going to get special rewards. A lot of them are going to include like upgrade materials and maybe relic shards. So this is going to be something you can get one time. The S tier at the end is a multiple turn-in. You can turn this in as many times as you want. So I could essentially farm as many tactics Eyepiece shards as I desire, as long as I have materials and I'm willing to keep grinding for these, and granted I have enough energy that's recharging every day. So as that goes on, you're going to be able to complete everything. I would probably recommend starting in the top row. This is going to be my path priority, right? Path priority, very important here. I would start in this top row. I would work towards getting your eyepiece or tactic shards. This is the first and most important piece, because once you have a gold eyepiece, you will gain a lot of CS and a lot of crit. And crit is very important in this game, so it's going to be a high priority for you. So make sure you work on this top part. This is going to be the best option for you. Once you have that completed, the second best option will be to go for the mid second part section, which is going to contain the gold space-time fragments, which will allow you to purchase a combat engine. So if you do not have a good combat engine, this is going to be a good priority for you. You could put that on the back burner. This is going to be a split option for just completing all of the one-times at this point. And that's what I decided to do as a Frost main. I know that I need Altered Destiny, because if I get the 4th tier, I get 2% Frost damage. So that's what I'm aiming for. I'm just completing all the one-times in the bottom row, which does give me access to that relic. So that is my desired path. I think that the one-time bonuses are very powerful, because you will get a lot of old Vera coins and Mira coins along the way, which you can spend in the gachas, which will power up your character quite a bit. So realistically, getting the top row done is going to be your best option until you have an IP shard, and then probably doing the one-times, and then after that focus on the materials in the mid-section second part, so that you can get yourself a good combat engine, because that will also go a long way in terms of progressing your character. Alright, that's going to be pretty much it for this one. I hope that explains the appointed research. We will have several other guides coming in the future for my secret farm locations on where to get a lot of these materials very quickly, which should help you progress your path progression and get you up there to a strong point where you can keep farming those legendary eyepiece materials and keep farming the legendary currency for space-time for the fortress combat engine, and that will definitely help give you a boost in terms of the bygone progression and progression in the end game in general. That's going to be it for this one, everyone. Thanks for watching. I truly appreciate that. If you learned anything or you found this information informative, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, and we will see you in the next video.